What's up guys, welcome to my FE7 Chaos Mode 0% Growths LTC playthrough. This is my first time recording and posting an LTC, as well as my first time playing through a whole game on 0% Growths, so wish me luck. Before we start, let me just explain a few things about the game I'm playing. FE7 Chaos Mode is a ROM hack created by Commentated for Fire Emblem 7 The Blazing Blade. It was last updated in 2015, so it's a bit of a vintage hack. For those of you who aren't familiar, a ROM hack is when you take an official Fire Emblem game, usually one of the older ones that you play on emulator, and modify it to some degree with custom content. This can range from just making small changes to character stats to rebalance the game, to writing a full-length original story and creating original maps. Basically, the concept of FE7 Chaos Mode is that it's an actually balanced version of an FE7 randomizer. So when you load a Fire Emblem game into a randomizer program like Yune, it can be really interesting because all the characters get switched into different classes and all the enemies are random and you get crazy stat variations on the weapons, but usually the game ends up being really unbalanced. Characters will end up with 0% speed growth, or they have 15 HP now, or all swords weigh 20, or dumb stuff like that because it's random. And the effect of this is that it's just not very fun to play, even if it's kind of funny for a few chapters. For FE7 Chaos Mode, on first look it seems like a randomizer because all the characters have different classes and the weapons are different, and so on, but Clockinator very carefully and deliberately balanced it, so it's actually fun all the way through. In addition to the randomized element, it's a bit of a power creep hack, so the enemies have been buffed quite a bit and you get lots of crazy powerful stuff late game. Let me go over a few rules of this run. I will be recruiting every character, as well as visiting every chapter. This will be an LTC, meaning I'll be aiming for the lowest possible turn count over the whole game. In order to achieve this, I will sometimes have to use unreliable strategies, so I'll need some level of RNG abuse, but I've tried to minimize that as much as possible. Also, I'm playing with 0% growths, meaning all player characters have had their growth rate set to 0 in all areas. This means the only way to improve the stats of our characters is to use stat boosters on them, or to get them to level 10 so they can promote. One final note is that I will be allowing use of the mine glitch. This is an infamous exploit in the GBA Fire Emblem games which allows the player to use the mine item to take control of the enemies for a turn. Most playthroughs of FE7 will choose to ignore this glitch since it's honestly kind of game breaking and is viewed as cheating. But you'll see, the creator of this hack definitely intended that players would use it, and I think it'll make this playthrough more interesting. Last thing to mention is that because this hack is a reskin of a very popular game, I'll be assuming in my commentary that you're fairly familiar with FE7, at least in terms of gameplay. In addition, I'll probably make occasional comparisons to the 0% Growths playthroughs of Vanilla FE7 by DonDon151 and Laponia36, both of which I have linked in the description, and I highly recommend checking out. With all that out of the way, let's get started. So when we start a new game, we don't have to choose a difficulty setting or mode, because Chaos Mode is only made for Hector hard mode. Sorry, Lin mode fans. First thing we need to do is create the Tactician. The only effect on gameplay is that depending on what month you choose for your birthday, characters with the magic affinity will get a small boost to hit and avoid. I'll go with June, because there are some good characters with the anima affinity we want to boost. Based on this, you might be able to guess who's going to be the hard carry unit. Spoiler alert, it's not Eliwood. From there, we get right into Chapter 11, ominously called The Pain Starts. This is a very simple chapter, kind of like a prologue, that just features Hector and Matthew sneaking out of a castle. The objective is to defeat the Armor Knight boss, and since Matthew starts with an Armor Slayer in his inventory, we're just going to run him straight toward the boss and take him out. The only other enemies we actually have to worry about are the starting Archer and Soldier. Right away, you'll notice Matthew, who is now a Cavalier, is attacking the Soldier at 3 range and countering the Archer on enemy face at 2 range. This is because the Armor Slayer actually has 2 to 3 range. As you'll see, the majority of weapons in Chaos Mode not only have different stats than Vanilla, their range of attack is actually different as well. As you can imagine, this will have a huge effect on our strategies. For example, Hector's Steel Bow has 1 to 3 range, but his Iron Bow just has the normal 2 range. Anyway, once the enemies are cleared, Matthew can open the door and move toward the boss. He only needs to dodge one of the 2 archers he faces to survive, and they only have about 50 hit on him. Meanwhile, Hector is going to use the chest key he started with to get the red gem, which will sell for cash next chapter. Since Cavalier Matthew has 7 move, we have our first instance of a turn save compared to Vanilla. He can reach the boss on turn 3, while normally 5 move Hector can't get to him until turn 6. When Matthew attacks the boss, you'll see he has special dialogue, which I think is pretty funny, considering normally Matthew is a frail thief that has no business being anywhere near wire. I let it play, since I figured most people might not have seen this combo. I mean, I have, but I'm a Matthew fanboy, so go figure. Anyway, Matthew just needs a critical to one-round the boss, and this is pretty easy since he doubles, and the Armor Slayer has an 825% crit chance in Chaos Mode. That's right, killer effective weapons, baby. And that's Chapter 11, completed in 3 turns. Come back next time when we're joined by the rest of the early game Scrub Squad, as well as the all-powerful Marcus. Right?